Hello my friends, welcome all back to the channel. It is the good old Mossy Jake back with another Nintendo video. Guys, how you enjoying these? Are they chilling with you? Are they good? Are they terrible? Let me know down below in the comments because I'm trying to mix things up a little bit. Try to do my skits that everyone loves on the shorts, but I also try to do these so I can get, the Nintendo news out there. You can chill out, just kind of listen to this in the background when you're, I don't know, playing Smash Bros. Or something, or whatever you're doing, driving in the car, I don't know. And of course, I do my live streams where I, play games and people come in and just say hi. So make sure to go and check all those out if you haven't already. But let me know down below in the comments if you want to see more of these videos. But it was enough talk. In today's video, we are talking about, well, Nintendo. Of course, I'm sorry. We're talking about Nintendo Switch 2. And I thought it'd be interesting if we compared it to, well, hold on, I got two hands, Nintendo Switch 1. So, is it really worth it? To the average consumer. I mean, I know us crazy Nintendo fans are always like, yo, gotta get the new best thing. I don't care what the price is. That's a whole problem in and of itself. I know, I get it. But the thing is here, when you have a Switch 1 and a Switch 2, when there's a sequel to a console, is the actual, just normal consumer, just like the people who will, be walking into Walmart on a casual Saturday afternoon, and, you're with your pops all the good old days, and you're just walking around, 5-year-old kid, and he's like, yo, there's a Nintendo Switch 2. The kid who, can't have the internet, doesn't know that the Switch 2 exists. He loves Nintendo. He might have a Switch 1, but he doesn't know the Switch 2 exists yet until he walks into the store and actually sees it. I mean, I know a lot of kids use the internet today, but there are people out there. There are people out there who don't know about things until it actually, until they actually see it at the store. And I know that may seem a little wait, what? What are you talking about? The internet's crazy. Everyone's gonna see it. Look, our algorithms, you and me, we're Nintendo algorithms here, okay? Of course we know what the Switch 2 is, right? We knew about the Switch 2 before Nintendo knew about the Switch 2. And that's not even an exaggeration, bro. We called it. We called that it was going to be Switch 2 before Nintendo even probably thought about it. I don't know. But anyways, here's the thing, okay? The average consumer, they don't know about the Switch 2 until they walk into the store and see it. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't know about it. So when they walk into the store and they see, oh, there's a Switch 2, is it good enough for them to pick up? Do you think the Switch 2 is good enough for them? And maybe I shouldn't be making this video before that big Nintendo Direct that's supposed to be happening in September. Might not be a good idea, honestly, no lie, because that might change the opinions here, but we're here, we're talking about it. So let's see, should you guys upgrade to a Switch 2? Should the average consumer upgrade to a Switch 2? Well, let's find out. So basically, obviously it's bigger. I mean, check out the screen. Check out the screen. And depending on what you have, if you have the Switch 1 OLED or the Switch, Lite, whatever it is, a lot of people, I think for the average consumer, they're not going to care if it's an OLED or not an OLED. I feel like when people buy an OLED screen, they're buying it because it's bigger, or maybe they really like OLED screens, but if that's for I don't want to say techno geeks or whatever, because I'm not a techno geek and I like OLED screens, but just the average consumer, I don't think is actually gonna care what the screen is as long as it's a fine screen. And the Switch 2 screen being this much bigger than the Switch 1, I think is a plus for everyone. I do think, is it too big, for little kids, are they gonna make a Switch 2 Lite for little kids? It could be a little big, but I don't know. It's probably fine. I think it's kind of one of those things you can get used to. But usually, I think bigger is better in this situation. So +1 for the Switch 2. All right, we'll give it a point. We'll give it a point, chat, because it kind of lit. It kind of fire. The magnet Joy-Cons. A lot of people complain about the how the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, sliding it in. It was kind of one of those things that didn't really work out. So this is better. Is the average, like I said, but the average consumer, just the casual Nintendo fans, will they care? Probably not. That's another thing. You got to think about that. So I'm not going to give that point to the average consumer. The Joy-Cons being bigger, though, that's another plus. Average consumer, I think everyone kind of, everyone in this world thinks bigger is better. And I just, that's just how it is, you know? It's how it is. Unless you're like a very small kid with very tiny hands, you may not like it. It may be too heavy, but I think it's fine for most people, especially the average consumer. So, that's a plus there. Now, but the biggest thing here, one of the biggest things that I think are going to draw people to the Switch 2 is the games. You know, here's the thing. Let's think about the Wii U and the Wii. Okay, the Wii U did not sell well. Everyone had a Wii. All the average consumers had a Wii because it was new, it was fresh, it was big, it was awesome. But the Wii U sucked. The Wii U did not sell well. And if you like the Wii U, that's great. But it did not sell well. That is just the point number one. It did not sell well, okay? And part of it was because it was called the Wii U. People kind of thought, the average consumer thought it was just kind of like an add-on to the Wii. You know, it was like, oh, just a little iPad add-on. We don't need that. We have the basic model. It's fine. They should have called it Wii 2. I honestly think they would have sold double the amount if they called it Wii 2. So Nintendo's already in the plus here by calling it Switch 2 instead of like Switch U or whatever. They're already winning there. So that is great. So I think that's a plus. But like I said, the games are going to be what really, really decide it. The marketing's good already. The marketing is good. It's like, hey, it's a Switch, it's better, but it's a second one. It's not just like an upgraded version. It is a second one. So you need to buy this one in order to play all the other games. The average consumer knows that now. So that is a great start. So let's take a look at this. We need games. For the average consumer, and that's kind of what this whole video has been leading up to. There's all these great things about the Switch 2. It's a better Switch. I don't think the average consumer is going to just like shut it down because it's just a better Switch. Some people might, because they might think, oh, it's just, you know, it's just a better Switch. I already have the first one. I don't need to buy the second one. Yes, there's always going to be that, and I guess that is a minus. But the thing is, if you can pump it full of games that were better than the Switch 1 launch, then you did it. You officially made a console that is better than the Switch 1, and it will sell better. Now, so far, we don't really know how the Switch 2 is going to do with games compared to Switch 1 because, you know, we're just starting out the cons. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that the games matter a ton. The Switch 1 launch is better than the Switch 2 launch. A lot of people are saying that. You know, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is an amazing game, 10 out of 10. Mario Kart World I love as well. And, you know, but we had Breath of the Wild back then, and that is what like changed gaming history, right? And although the Switch 2 launch is good, I think it's great. I don't think it's compared to Switch 1. So far, I do not think the Switch 2 is going to sell more than the Switch 1 because, you know, people who bought a Switch 1, if, you know, they may have got excited over it, but if they didn't like that gimmick, they may not go back for the Switch 2. Plus, if there's not a lot of good games, then they're not going to buy it. So Nintendo needs to, in order, I hate to say it, but in order for the Switch 2 to sell better than the Switch 1, honestly, I think they need to have more games. They need to have more games than the Switch 1. I'm not kidding. I think they need to pump it full of games in order to make it stand a chance. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Switch 2 is already going to sell well than the Switch 1? I think the September Direct is really going to decide if the Switch 2 launch is going to be great. You know, we've already had the launch, but it is the first year. This could mean the difference between this console failing and the not failing. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.